Steven Universe is a show that I like. There is no punchline. It's one of those love it or hate it shows that I see a ton of discourse around all the goddamn time. But my opinion's somewhere between them, albeit leaning more towards the positive side. I recognise the problems it has, but I'm still able to enjoy it, even if it's not one of my favourite shows ever or anything. I never had any ideas for videos I could make on it before, but then I rewatched the movie for a project that I was working on with a friend of mine. I don't know if that project released since I'm recording this quite a bit in advance, but if it did, I'll link it in the description. And that rewatch got me thinking it could be fun to rank all the songs in the movie. The project I mentioned also involved the animated Adam Sandler classic 8 Crazy Nights, so I figured this could be fun to put out exactly 3 years after I ranked all the songs in that movie. A nice, short, easy video to close the year out with. Assuming I don't have anything scheduled to go up in the next 4 days, but who knows. So there's not really much more to it than that. I'll be ranking all 16 songs in the Steven Universe movie. Don't expect any in-depth analysis or for me to know literally the first thing about music theory. This goes no deeper than how much I like listening to the songs and their accompanying role in the scene and the overall story. I'll be putting them all in tiers too, but unlike in my other tier list videos, this one isn't going to be long enough to where I need to split up the video into segments to make editing easier. So I'll just say where the cutoff point would be for each of them as we go along. Starting with the D tier, the only 2 songs that I have an outright negative opinion on. I'm sorry, you will never get me to care about Sadie and her band. I don't know, this one isn't awful or anything, but I'm not a huge fan of the melody or the vocals here. Amethyst turning into Rose at the end is at least a good contrast to when she did it back in season 1. Ranks higher than the last entry because the vocal harmony is at least pretty nice, but there's nothing that hooks me to go back to listen to this one ever. It's pretty simple and forgettable, plus I'm generally not a huge fan of the Diamonds. Their complete head turn into overly needy man babies in this movie isn't a decision I was too keen on. That's it for the bad songs, now for the C tiers, the ones I feel very little towards one way or the other. This slightly edges out over the original since it mixes the song together with Found pretty nicely, and it's neat to see Spinel get her happily ever after. I'm still not that into the song itself, but these additions at least make it to where I no longer actively dislike it. Fine enough little opening to the movie that I have no strong feelings on. At one point it started to remind me of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, and I don't know if that's because they're musically similar or if I'm just going insane. As much as I would like to play an example, I would like even more to not be copyright struck, so I guess if you're familiar enough with both songs, tell me in the comments. Visually pretty neat, and Estelle's vocals are always a plus. It's just pretty short and forgettable, especially compared to a lot of the competition it has. If anyone can ever recite the title of the song to you off by heart, run. Yeah, this is fine. It's kinda cute, kinda funny, but not especially memorable or standout. It also goes on for quite some time and I'm ready to move on halfway through. I don't think this needed to be one of the longer songs in the movie, but it's at least a fun little way to spice up an exposition dump. Now we have a huge jump in quality up to the B tiers, the songs I really like and stuff. Short and sweet. After Spinel had just gotten her own solo song revealing all her trauma, it's nice for her to get a duet with someone who gives her hope that things will get better for her. Not much to it, but it's really nice. This is a song I like more in a vacuum than I do in the context of where it's used in the movie. I dig the vocals here a lot, especially on Estelle's end. They mix with the instrumental to make something really soothing and relaxing to listen to on its own. Is that the best choice for an action scene though? It's not bad at the start since the fight only takes up a small portion of it, and it works well enough at the very end with Steven climbing the injector as he makes his way to talk to Spinel, but the instrumental portion in the middle feels very tonally inappropriate. The injector's tearing Beach City apart and people's lives are in danger. Why is smooth jazz playing over it? Good song regardless, I just wish it was part of a scene that matched it more in tone. I think this is one of the more underspoken ones from the movie. I really love it. Bismuth motivating Steven to get his head back in the game is nice, and it's great to finally hear her get to have her own song. I do kinda wish that Lapis and Peridot got to be more involved than they were, but I like the part at the end where they join in, and they do have other songs to their name while this is Bismuth's first, so I don't particularly mind her getting the bulk of it to herself. A great and charming little duet with Steven helping Amethyst to regain her memories. She can only repeat things at first, but eventually she's able to sing in tandem with him and even take the lead on some verses, showing the progress that they're making. It's not quite a favourite, but I love this one a lot. It's a really fun listen and a testament to the bond between these two characters. Now it's time for the A tiers, the songs that I absolutely adore. It's a shame that so much of the song is just the instrumental playing in the background. It leads to an already fairly short song feeling all the more incomplete, and it's so frustrating because this could have so easily ranked in the top tier if there was just a bit more to it. It's incredibly catchy and has a great message to it, all accompanied with a really cool fight scene. If you haven't heard the Caleb Hyles cover of this one, then I'd highly recommend that. It adds an extra verse for Steven, and even one for Spinel where she pushes back against him. If the movie version had all that as well, then this could have easily cracked the top 3. As it is now though, it's still amazing. A fantastic intro for one of the series' best villains, showing off how creative the animation team can get with their movements and how well Sarah Styles can sing with this incredibly catchy number. It foreshadows Spinell's motivations in an intriguing way, and re-listening to it after watching the movie makes everything make a lot more sense. Her complete domination over the crystal gem sets her up as a legitimate threat too. Phenomenal opening number as long as you ignore the two that came before it. Each segment sounds great with the characters getting their own motifs playing at points in the background, and the ending with all four of them singing in perfect harmony is, well, more or less perfect. It's great to see how far they've all come and the headspace that they're all in now. And with that, we can move on to the final three in the S tier. A perfect way to establish why Spinell's the way that she is. As someone who's been in a similar headspace before, it makes her sympathetic in a way that really made me want things to turn out alright for her in the end. With how bouncy and energetic she'd been up to this point, having this scene be slower and played completely straight lets the emotional weight of the reveal set in even more. I always love when songs in a series can work in multiple previous songs while still having their own identity. That's just something that tickles my brain in a funny way. And it's exactly what this song does with Happily Ever After and Change. It's an excellent way to close out the movie and a nice contrast to the opening song. I love that every prominent main cast member gets at least some role in this, with Pearl especially having one of my favourite deliveries near the end. And for as weird and out of nowhere as the ending bit is, I still really like it. Also, this is the only song Lars is ever a part of and his only line in the movie. What's up with that? He was in like 2 other scenes, why didn't you let him say anything? On my first viewing of this movie back in 2018, I was way too distracted by how uncomfortable Steg made me to pay attention to the song at all. I just wasn't into how they were seemingly trying to make a fusion of a 16-year-old and his father come across as hot. Why is he like this? Well, ever since then, I've seen the light on just how excellent Independent Together is. It's pretty clear-cut as my favourite song in the film, and probably in my top 5 of the series overall. It's beyond catchy, and I've listened to the original and covers of it more times than I can count. It's a great exploration of Pearl's development over the years to become more of her own independent person. It's great to finally have an unexpected song for Opal of all characters, whose voice pairs perfectly with Steg. It has some really cool looking sequences. I just love everything about this song, man. The vocals, the instrumental, its role in the story, the visuals to accompany it all. It even hints a little more towards Spinell's backstory and motivations briefly. It just can't be topped. And that's my ranking of all the songs in the Steven Universe movie. Nice to have a short and sweet video to work on for once. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I'm not enjoying having to come up with an outro on the spot because I forgot to write one, but yeah, leave your own rankings in the comments, and that about does it. Hope you all had a good holiday, have a good new year, and I'll see you later.